Hi, I'm Tommy May, and this is Interviewing for Top Employees. In this training, I'm going to give you the framework and tools you need to have confidence in hiring team members to join your organization, to join your business. A few years back, I was meeting with one of my friends, and he was sharing the experience of a consulting project he did for Panera Bread. So about 10, 15 years ago, he was doing this work, and Panera had brought him and his team in to review what was working for Panera, what wasn't. Specifically, they were trying to answer, how can they increase customer satisfaction and customer spend per visit? So my friend and his team, they did a bunch of focus groups. They observed the work happening in a couple different stores. They interviewed people. And it came down to the best thing Panera could do at that time was to improve the quality of their hire, their cashiers. And their cashier at the time was the least paid and generally the newest person on the team. Think of that. A major organization all across the nation, and they need to put their focus on the least paid employee. The same is often true for your business. Whoever you hire, especially those that have more contact with your clients or customers, have a significant opportunity to drive your business, to drive it up or to drive it down, to drive customer satisfaction up or to drive it down. And that's why interviewing is so important. Now, to get into interviewing, first, you may, or maybe somebody you know, or maybe you aren't completely bought in the purpose of an interview. So I want to first start by clearly defining what an interview should be. First off, the purpose of the interview is to predict performance of potential candidates. We want to understand those from your applicant pool, those who have hired, who is most likely to succeed in the role. So an interview should not be an interrogation. It's not your goal, and it shouldn't be your goal to stress the candidate out to see if they can answer your questions. That's just going to distort and limit the amount of usable information you're going to get from the applicant. Further, it's not a friend contest. It's not about determining whether or not this is somebody you want to go have a beer with after work. But instead, an interview should be focused on predicting performance. And we do that by first focusing on the skills, abilities, and experiences they're going to bring to the role. Second, standardizing the interview across applicants, meaning you want to get the same information from applicants. You can't hope to decide between two applicants if you know different bits of information. Like if you're trying to buy a car and you know one's red and one gets great gas mileage, you can't make a decision between that. And third, when it comes to interviews, the information you're getting needs to be related to success in the role, needs to help you predict their likelihood of success. So if we take the car analogy, you want the information about the cars that's important to you. So if color's not important to you, you don't care about the car color. And so when it comes to applicants, you want information that's relevant. The first step is to define the job. Now you might be thinking, why do I need to define the job, Tommy? Just tell me the interview questions, teach me how to write the interview questions, and I can do the interview. It's more complicated than that. And the reason why is you can't hope to measure something if you haven't first defined it. So I've prepared a two-phase process that will help you to do just that. So the first phase is we need to really get very technical in defining a job. So here we're looking to, you're gonna get a piece of paper or a Word doc or wherever you want to work, digitally or on paper, and you wanna write down all the things you're gonna be doing. What does a typical day look like? How do they start the day? What are they doing throughout the day? How do they end the day? What does a typical week look like? Maybe there's certain responsibilities or tasks they have they only do once a week, or maybe it's tasks or responsibilities only once a month. Make sure you capture all those, right? And get detailed. So if they're going to be cleaning things, what are they cleaning? How often are they cleaning, right? How are they spending their time? Consider these things. You know, maybe it's a receptionist role, and when they have downtime, what do you expect them to be doing? And how are they using that downtime? So I have, speaking of the receptionist, while I was an undergrad, I worked for a while as a receptionist and a personal trainer at a wellness center. And so thinking of the receptionist side of my responsibilities, here were some of the responsibilities and tasks I had. I was responsible to open and close the facility, answer calls, schedule appointments, greet the customers and guests as they came in, or say goodbye as they left, collecting payments, selling services, whether it's appointments, meetings, gym membership, that kind of stuff. Of course, cleanliness of the facility was also a major responsibility, and I could have added a whole list of things there. Stuff like in the winter, how often I needed to vacuum the entryway to get rid of the salt that was brought in, or in the summer, how often I need to go and sweep the courts, or in the fall, sweep the courts, the external tennis courts. Lots of different responsibilities there. I digress. And then many other assigned tasks, right? So there's a list, there's an example. So if you haven't already, pause the training, take a moment and write down a bunch of the responsibilities you have. Now, once you have that, you want to move to the phase 2, and that's what are the behaviors you expect from a perfect hire. So phase 1, if you caught it, is about what they will do, the what, right? Phase 2 is the how. Now, we can all agree here, as a receptionist, it's my job to answer calls. I could answer the phone in a whole bunch of different ways. I could say, hello, but I haven't described the company and the tone of my voice isn't that great. Or I could say, hello, this is Acme Wellness. How can I help you? So we're going to talk about the how. That's phase 2. Now, you don't need to get as granular here. So meaning you don't have to tell them how they're going to do every task. But now that we've got a creation of all the tasks they're responsible for, we want to start to focus on how they're going to do the job. So you want to consider what success looks like in the role. Success is, of course, doing the task you've described, but it's about how they're doing the task. How are they greeting the customers they come in, right? What are their major buckets or competencies or skill areas that they need to be executing in? What challenges are they going to face? Who are they going to be working with? And how are they going to be working with others? What might be a major blocker that causes somebody to fail? For example, in the receptionist role, it's got to be somebody who's willing to start the conversation. That's going to be a little bit outgoing. And then also somebody who's going to be resourceful, somebody who's going to be solutions oriented. So when a problem comes up, they're going to solve it for that customer. But if you have somebody who needs express details written out of everything they face, that may not be the person for that receptionist role. Or if you have somebody who's more reserved, doesn't like to really talk to people, that may not be the person you want answering the call or greeting people as they come in or helping them to find what they need in the gym. So I took the liberty of creating one ahead of time. So here are 3 competencies or skills that we would expect for this role that we're hiring for, the Acme Wellness Center receptionist. So let's start with customer care. Put the needs and wants of the customer first. Is genuine and enthusiastic in every customer interaction. Asks questions and listens with interest to uncover the customer's needs. Seeks to anticipate and proactively resolve customer concerns and problems. So you'll notice in there, I didn't say greets the customer as they walk in. I didn't say sells services, right? But those are captured in there. So if somebody's putting the needs and wants of the customer first, how are they going to treat that customer when they walk in the door? Or when they pick up the phone and answer and there's a customer on the line, right? Or I didn't talk about selling services, but if they're asking questions, if this person is asked questions and listens with interest to uncover the customer's needs, they're going to sell the services that make sense for the customer. So you don't have to be as concerned about calling out every detail. So take a moment, pause the video, read the other competencies, and start to envision what does this look like, and then take time to write out the behaviors that you would expect for your roles, for the roles you need to hire for. How are they going to do the job? And you're going to want to take a couple passes of that. Write it out. Try to identify where the different behaviors kind of group together, and write out those skills or competencies. And then have somebody else you trust and review that. Have them review the document, make sure it makes sense, because this is critical. If you get this put in place correctly, then you're going to be able to make some great hiring decisions. To give you an example, so I work for a large Fortune 100 company. And so we do these different special projects where we'll partner, we'll create a new role, we'll try something different and test things out. And it's always fun because I get pulled in and there's always a new role. So we're doing one where there's this new partnership with a smaller online beauty company that was able to tap into a segment of the market that was just completely underserved in the beauty industry. This founder had built this company from the ground up, so was very passionate about what she was doing and very knowledgeable and cared a tremendous amount. And her major concern was, how are you, a giant international company, going to represent my brand the way my customers expect, right? So went out there, got to meet with her and her team, and we talked about the roles, talked about what's important, got a chance to go visit their one brick and mortar store at the time, see some of the products, talk to a lot of people. And it was this process I used that first, let's create a role success profile of what that role looks like in our company and how are they referencing and talking about and how are they serving the customers. And as we dug into that, we found there was a lot of overlap. We may have talked about it a little bit different, and we were happy to adapt some of the language, but the end result was we were able to use this foundation, just like I'm teaching you, to build an incredibly effective interview guide that helped to make sure that we hired people into those critical roles that champion not only our brand, but the brand of this new partner that was doing tremendous things in the beauty space and still is to this day. So that's the end of section 1, or module 1. So the first step is to define the role. If you do that and really take the time into that, you've got a good solid foundation to build off of. Because with the better clarity with which we know success looks like in the role, what they'll be doing and how they should be doing it, the better we can determine whether the applicants you're going to interview are going to be a good fit for the role. So take the time, write that out, and look forward to talking to you in section 2, which will be writing interview questions.